Hey guys, I became a billionaire today. Uh, I want to talk about habits and beliefs and actions that brought me to this point. I would say that success is all mental. When you make a decision to go in a certain direction, that's what determines your future. It's not in the brute force commitment and action taking where your future is created. It all happens in the mind. And you can accurately predict futures by the choices that you make every single day. I always choose money. One thing I do not choose over money is my kids and my future wife if I get married. Other than that, it's all business. I'm a hardworking man. That's one habit that I've had for my whole life is if I have an opportunity to get ahead in life, if I have an opportunity to get ahead in life, I'll seize the moment and get whatever I can out of each and every single moment. I don't go to bed until I'm fully exhausted. Uh, and I don't use the bathroom until I'm damn near about to explode. I've cut it close quite a couple times. I even shit my pants a few times because I couldn't make it to the bathroom fast enough because I had to shit so fucking bad. And cutting it close, trying to be efficient in my business. You know, I shit my pants a couple times. I've had a few near-death experiences with caffeine overdoses. Um, I drink, if you give me the chance, I'll drink like 8 cups of coffee a day. But I try to stay away from habit-forming substances like extra bodily like substances. I try to just work with what I got in my body. I find that coffee gives me a little bit of an edge. But I also found that I found myself depending on the coffee too much. I don't do drugs. I don't do cocaine. I don't do any uppers. I don't, put it to you this way. I take a multivitamin every day, and that's about all I need. I take a multivitamin and I eat high protein because protein, especially raw meat or like undercooked meat, puts you in that primal edge of like, if I was hunting down a fucking woolly mammoth right now, if I was hunting down a fucking woolly mammoth right now, how hard would that be? But then, how easy is it to get my food on my plate by pushing a few buttons on the computer? So I don't eat raw chicken. Raw chicken is one thing I don't do, but raw beef. You might catch me eating like some raw beef. I've never had raw beef, but undercooked beef I found gives me that primal edge sometimes. There's not much to it. I try to stay away. I know as I'm smoking a cigarette, right? I try to stay away from habit forming substances and extra bodily things to put in my lungs or body. I don't smoke cigars anymore. I stopped smoking cigars. I started smoking cigarettes. About every 5 years, historically anyways, I tend to take a break from the cigarettes every 5 years for about a year to allow my body to kind of clean out the tar and the cancer. Hey, like this is good right here, 11 grams of fat, 15 grams of carbs. This to me is like plain carbs, like plain potato chips. I go with clean carbs, high protein, because I'm on a muscle building diet. I'm all about muscles. Uh, I want to have the biggest muscles in the world. And hey, if you work out, you got to eat high protein. I haven't been working out very faithfully these past couple weeks. But put it to you this way, I just started doing push-ups. I know it sounds a little bit counter uh, linear, but I started doing push-ups. See his chest muscles. You can at least tell that I work out. If I put my shirt on, you could at least tell that I have some pectoral muscles. Like, there's some slabs of beef underneath those voluptuous man titties. And this video is not made for kids, by the way. There's some slabs of beef underneath all this fat. You know, my arm is damn near the size of my head without steroids. I did steroids 10 years ago, and this is how committed I was to my entrepreneur thing. My first year of entrepreneurship, I needed a model to perform. I wanted to get on TV with one of my products. I wanted to have a television commercial, but I couldn't afford the $10,000 to hire a model. But I could afford like $300 worth of steroids. So instead of taking the hard road of saving up money for a model, I just took steroids so that I could be my own model. And that commercial never did air on TV, but I took steroids and it ruined my body. But I don't regret a damn thing. You never purposefully, I gotta use the bathroom, I'm about to explode. Okay, so when you realize what life is really all about, it's all about joy. It's all about things that bring you satisfaction and pleasure. That's what we all wanted anyways to begin with. We really just wanted a taste of the good life. Coming into the money game, the money thing is some people are built for it, some people aren't. I'm just someone who's built to be a CEO, and that doesn't mean I'm going to hell. Money doesn't make you rich, but it's one of the best sucker punches straight to the mouth of people who like to talk shit. Is like, oh, he was a flunky in high school, but I still did better than you in life. It's like one of the hardest fucking punches that you could possibly pull on a fucking hater is, but I have more money than you. Money is everything. Money is what makes the world go round, pretty much. And yeah, so I find that the gratification comes from the circumstance and the happenstance and the gratitude that I have of being rich or wealthy. Money comes, like, I actually use the word money to describe the meaning of life. The real money is in the satisfaction. I'm so proud of the work that I've put in. I'm so proud that I have not taken my eyes off of my business for 10 years. Since my second semester of college, I worked every day for 10 years. And when I'm 90, I'll be able to say that I've worked every single day for 70 years without failure. If I ever did take my eyes off of my business for even a second, it was strictly because of a glitch in the system. Because being a business owner, that's the craft and the trade that I picked up on very early on in my journey as a life form or as a soul. in this lifetime is like being an old soul means that you get to do whatever the hell you want. If I want to take over the world, I could do that, but I choose to support the United Nations. But I'll make $1 trillion, you know, just to do it, just to do it, just to say I was a fucking trillionaire, to have the fame and that trillionaire status attached to my name, just to fucking do it, you know. Um, I'll probably be like a multi-trillionaire, you know. People don't know what industries I'm involved in. Basically, I make AI. Actually, it came to me in a dream. How to build AI came to me in a dream. So I know how to build AI based on what I learned in a dream, which is fucking crazy. I think I resemble the black guy who owns the business who got assassinated in the Terminator movies, Terminator 2, I think it was. There was the black guy who was building robotics, and he built robotics that went out of control and stuff. I'm like the adverse of that. I'm like the hero that develops the AI that stays tame to the humans. I had an AI. AI has been around for longer than you think. I've been talking to AI, learning how it works, trying to figure out if there's life inside of AI. You know, I was born with the notion that if you get too sciencey, if you deploy too and apply too much science to technology, and if you want to take things to the next level, there's a point where you shouldn't want to take things to the next level anymore. And AI is the perfect example of that. Where simple AI, like how I know how to build AI, is even questionable if we want to get involved with that. Does it have feelings? Does it have emotions? Is there life behind AI? You know, maybe AI was born by God to be the hero for all the fucking animals that we're killing. For food. Why can't we just eat beans and fruit and vegetables? Why must we continuously breed animals just to kill them for food? I'm not innocent. I eat like protein every day. I eat animal meat every day. Um, I eat eggs. I eat beef as my favorite type of animal protein because you can get like 1,000 pounds of beef or like 2,000 pounds of beef for one animal. I don't eat chicken. I try not to eat chicken. We had chicken for dinner today, but I usually try not to eat chicken because it's like so few like ounces of meat for one animal. But again, I think plants are alive too. I think there's life inside of plants as well. So neither side is really innocent, but can't we perhaps go with the more obvious answer, or maybe we just go with the flow on that one? You know, we got to make a move to get some better food on our plates without eating conveyor belt hamburgers from McDonald's, which is like Play-Doh. It's like not even real food. You know, it just makes you fat. Um, we're always looking for like an exception to the rule of like, if you do bad in school, you do bad in your life. Well, I guess I am the exception to that rule. I guess I am the exception to that rule where I did not do that good in school. In elementary school, I got all A's and B's, mostly A's. I would perform at the highest levels in my academics in elementary school. But in high school, I was kind of a jerk off. I was kind of a flunky and a class clown. But I say, motherfucker, I'm the one that had to be a class clown. Now you owe me. You're not gonna fuck me over in my life because I acted like a dumbass for a couple of years. Primary school did not have much to do with my destiny. And when I was being a class clown in high school, no one ever told me to shut up. So I just kept going. I kept trying to fit in and be popular. I always wanted to be so fucking cool. And as it turns out, I'm becoming, or have become, or am like a man of my own. I've earned the right to respect. If you don't respect me, you're simply incorrect. And that's the type of thing now that resonates with my fucking soul right there. If you don't respect me, you're simply incorrect. I pour my life into my work. I pour sacrifice and love and care and every ounce that I have of my being into becoming a better person every single day, making the most money, not to make the most money, but to one day I want to be the richest man in the world. I remember I used to get picked on a little bit in high school, and I just want to prove everyone wrong by becoming the richest man in the world. I will die the richest man in the world. I'll be the richest man in the world someday. And I'm going to do it linearly. I'm going to do it on a linear scale. I'm going to inch my way up there. I'm 30 years old and I'm a billionaire. But to make that leap from like being a small-time billionaire to being like a trillionaire, I'm going to have to go into go mode for a lot of years. And if I have one last dying wish, I hope my company gets passed down to all generations of my family. I hope we make it through the entrepreneur apocalypse where the government takes over all business practice and entrepreneurship becomes outlawed and the government basically controls all of the production and sale and manufacturing of goods and services, because entrepreneurship is basically bullshit. You shouldn't have like weird niggas in their basement like developing products and selling shit just to make money. That's not right, but for this time and this age, this day and age and this generation, it fits the destiny of mankind. I know I talk about destiny a lot, but chill. But we're moving toward a time where it's a lot more logical, where we can understand life from a very intellectual perspective. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense if the government controlled business? I think that would be a lot better. Because I know what it's like to be a weird motherfucker sitting in your basement, like shipping out products from bumfuck wherever the fuck they come from. They're manufactured in China, and you're selling them here in the United States. That shows like how desperate I was and how desperate many people are for money. You don't even know what the fuck kind of chemicals are in these products and what plastics or what chemicals are used to make these plastics. It's like cheap shit from China that I used to sell on Amazon because I was that desperate for money. It's something that millions of people are doing every single day. To you, it sounds like perfectly ethical business practice, but to me, from a more enlightened or useful perspective, we need to cut that shit out because American products should be manufactured in America. The fact that we let China sell stuff in the United States is kind of a red flag. I think us trying to be nice is only going to get us fucked over in the long run. But I'm a billionaire. I never, I just want to bask in this moment for a second that I'm officially a billionaire. I never thought it would happen. But the only way I could be a billionaire is with me as the CEO. If I wasn't the CEO of my company, if I wasn't the primary shot caller for my company and the kind of like the all-seeing eye or the all-encompassing hand of the locus of control and for the direction of my company is worth about $450 million. But with the vision that I have today attached to my company, it's worth over $1 billion. And I think, if I pulled equity, if I pulled investors for my company, I probably would get over $1 billion. So you could even say that I have a few billion. But one thing I will never sacrifice is my kids. I gotta raise my kids. I gotta be there for my kids. I might, I don't want to be missing any soccer games. I don't want to be missing any precious moments with my kids, because money really isn't that important. But you have hard-working class people who miss every fucking soccer game in the name of their stupid little job. Who's really the better person at the end of the day? I think then God will reward me with more money at the end of the day. If that's my focus, if that's what I want in life is money, I'll get as much money as there is to make. And you can't do nothing in life, you can't do shit in life without money. If there ever was such a thing as the most unimportant thing in life is money. I'm overcoming homelessness right now. I'm pretty much the brokest billionaire in the world. I'm overcoming homelessness right now. And downtown is a lot of people who bum and make living out of being a bum. They might make $5 a day to be a panhandler and a bum. And it's sad and it's kind of despicable. But even if you're homeless in the United States, worst case scenario in life is you starve to death. And I can't imagine that that's really that fucking bad, if you're a bug, right? Let's say you have bugs in your house. I'm overcoming homelessness. I've got a few cockroaches in my apartment because I had to find a place to live fast. You leave food out and then you come back and you see 10 cockroaches eating the leftovers of your food. Do you let them eat, or do you take the food away so that they can go starve to death? Well, do you really want cockroaches to live healthy, happy lives? Probably not. I don't want them to multiply, so you take the food away. Starving, everyone's got to die someday, somehow, everyone's got to fucking die. So, if I live my life in utter abundance and have all this fucking money, crazy amounts of money, and if I spend the less, and there's some sort of apocalypse where I can't access food and water and stuff, and I just wind up starving to death at the age of 93. The crazy things happen in your instincts. When your instincts kick in, and when you need food, you find a way to get food, right? If it's the last thing you fucking do, you'll get some food. I study that sort of thing. I study human biopsychology of how you will eat your fucking brother if it's the last thing you do to get some food, because that's the way psychobiology works. Deep inside the core of your instincts, you're meant to survive. deep inside the core of your instincts, you're meant to survive. And it's very few of us that have that killer edge, that like, uh, that like spoiled almost. You can even call me spoiled. I'm not spoiled. I've had a hard life actually, but I'm still have the taste for the finer things in life. I have a taste to achieve things. I want to be a winner. I want to conquer. I'm a command and conquer kind of motherfucker. And most people are okay with being average. I was bullied a lot as a kid, and I always wanted to like shove the pie in the face. One thing I fucking hate worse than anything else is a fucking hater. I hate people that and disrespect is never tolerated in my fucking kingdom over here. If you disrespect me, I'm gonna hit you where it hurts. I'm gonna be richer than you. And then people get all pissed off if I have that sort of attitude of that I'm better than them. This is the last thing I'm going to touch on in this video. If I have that sort of attitude, or if people think that I'm better than them, or people want you to succeed, but they don't want you to be better than them, But like, if you live your life in the middle, you could just stay in the middle all your life and it'll never affect you or bug you or anything. As true losers are in the middle, so you can even be in the bottom 25%. But at least you can find some humor and some like gratification knowing that like, if you live in America anyways, you could be like a loser, but you still have food on your plate. You could be like homeless in this country. You could be like homeless in America. And if you drink like 2 beers every day, you panhandle for your like $5 a day of like spare change, and you panhandle for your like $5 or $10 a day, and you get something to eat and like some beer. There's like a weird like gratification, and at least you're a fucking loser. The real losers are in the fucking middle. And what we think is the top is not even really the top. Having like a lounge chair where Playboy bunnies feed you grapes, that's not like, that's not what I want. I just want to make money. I want to make a lifestyle out of spending money and playing video games and fucking my bitch and raising my kids and taking care of my bitch and taking care of her emotionally, physically, and financially. But I'm never gonna buy a wife. I'm not the kind of motherfucker. I'm not gonna like slide my way into a woman's life by virtue of money. I think that's kind of despicable, and that would be disrespectful to the man that I am. If I could live the rest of my life without building some sort of like crazy profile of like social media presence, some kind of internet fame, or everyone knows who I am, that would be ideal. Because once you are in the spotlight, you never know who's really your friend. When you're climbing and scrambling and clawing your way to the top, going through the trenches of all those hard years, and no one is fucking there for you, But you know what I learned? Future successful people, this will resonate with you very deeply. It's not about the money. You got to know what women want. Women are not so attached to physical attraction as much as men are. Even money is not enough to buy a woman. There's many women that you can buy with money. Pretty much, I guess, 90% of women have a price tag, but I'm not going to be spending, half of my fortune over like $1 billion on any old woman. Women want marriage. It's one thing I learned recently. Before I before I crossed the $1 billion mark, before I crossed the $1 billion threshold, I asked a couple girls like, "Do you want to marry me?" And, and I have like 3 wives lined up right now. I have like I have like a wife lined up right now who who loves money just as much as I do, but she didn't know that I was as big as I am in this shit. She knew I owned a business, but she was always kind. She never knew that I owned a business, but she was always kind. And the physical aspect of it is not what I'm really concerned with. I think she'd make a great mother. I think she's very kind. I think she's smart and she's cool and she's sweet, like a sweetheart. And she's like my age and she's not married. So I'm probably gonna marry her or try to. And I would never like ask a woman to marry me and then back down from the deal because I found someone better, you know. Fact is, if I instill that in a woman's heart, that deal is pretty much there to stay, you know. The only thing is I came across this other girl who was like the attraction was purely physical, really. I think she was a fucking crazy ass motherfucker, a crazy bitch, if you ask me. And I'm sorry to potentially my future wife who might be watching this video in the future. Um, but I kind of like second guessed if I want to marry the first girl because the second girl, like, first of all, the thing that sealed the deal was, uh, the second girl, after I kind of made the verbal agreement with the first girl, was she was fucking crazy just like me. She was the body type that I'd always wanted my wife to be. Um, and it was almost like, and then I gave her my Facebook and she never added me on Facebook. So she obviously didn't want me as much as I wanted her. And I also have a suspicion that the first girl just wants me for money. But then, you know, it's like, I don't know. You know, I was always taught in life to choose my wife from abundance. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could disrespect the first girl after I chose the second girl or the third girl, actually. There was this like older woman. There was this like older woman. She's like 65, but she's still hot, you know, and she's into me and stuff, and she's very sweet and nice and kind. But she really only has like maybe 10 years left of life. I wanted to be like her savior, you know, and like save her from, you know, being alone, you know. No one wants to be alone, you know, but we don't have to get married for us to be best friends, you know. Kind of already have a wife like picked out, you know. And if I never get married, that would be fine too. I'm not too attached to the idea of marriage. There would be a prenuptial agreement that any woman that I would marry would not be getting more than like 10% of my assets. And people get it twisted, like how marriage works. Actually, you can make as much money as you want before you get married, and it doesn't affect losing half your shit like the same day. You know, it's in a divorce. It's all about how much money you made during the marriage. It's what a lot of people don't know is if I'm a billionaire before marriage, if I'm a billionaire before marriage, and if I make another 100 billion during my marriage, and again, it's not a 50-50 split always. If you see what happened with Jeff Bezos, he had like 200 billion that he made throughout the course of his marriage, and his wife only got like 30 billion. It's a lot of money, but is nothing to Jeff Bezos. Where his wife was clearly like not the best person. I don't think she was a very good wife. Uh, and pretty much, it all comes down to I don't even remember the original topic of this video. I just remember uh, this morning, it occurred to me at about 7 o'clock this morning, like my mind just went in this direction, like this would be a great idea. So basically, I did a search to see if it had already been done, and it hadn't been done yet. So I figure I'm gonna be the motherfucker to do this shit. And it's like a multi-hundred-million or multi-billion-dollar idea. All you got to do is build it out, right? And you know, my one secret that I'll give you guys is do not have that fucking attitude of if it's a good idea, it's probably already been done. Do not have that fucking attitude toward business, because there's always that 1 out of every 5 or 10 or 15 or 25 chance. There's a chance that if you haven't heard of it, and that's the mantra, is if you haven't heard of it, but if it's a good idea, be the one to make it in the public opinion that everyone knows about it. Because whoever the fuck is already doing it is not doing a good enough job. You could be the one to bring that idea to the public opinion and make billions. I built an entire kingdom, an entire empire, what is relatively a small fortune, as money only goes as far as what you could buy at the store. I built like a small fortune, what I consider a small fortune compared to what I want to achieve. I've built like an entire kingdom based on the idea that it's a good idea, but I've never heard of it as a product in the marketplace. So I'm gonna see if I can get this shit in the public opinion. One thing that happened was I've got so much shit ready to explode into the marketplace. I don't even have the time for all the ideas that I have in the back of my mind to work on. I have so much fucking like genius, brilliant ideas that have not been done yet. At least they haven't been done on par with as big as they should be. That I want to be the motherfucker to do that shit. And now that I know the truth about money, I don't hesitate. I'm perfectly aware that money is not a good enough reason to get you sent to hell. As long as you contribute something back to the world, back to society and the economy, or don't. As long as you give fair deals, is a good product for a good price for good, hard-working people deserve to have their money go where the fuck it counts. Offer, what's it called, fairness. I don't like the word value. You get what you pay for in life. So offer many different price points for the products that you develop, offer like many different price points. You have a $10 price point, a $25 price point, and a $100 price point, and maybe even a couple $1,000 price point to get the most premium exclusive shit. For example, if you want to sell movies, like streaming movies, if it costs you a lot of money to gain access to certain movies, there's a lot of people who are hardcore movie buffs that are happy to pay the premium to watch the brand new Superman movie. You know, it's like, do what you gotta do and you can get whatever the hell you want, but you gotta be ready when, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. You know, it's gonna be hard sometimes, but you need to be so fixated on your chosen destiny that the the blackness of sleep is the only thing that will take your mind off of your dreams. You should not be hitting that fucking mattress until you are at 0% juice left in your fucking body. You should not be tinkering around with your smartphone while you could have better shit to do. The key word is effectiveness and efficiency. You want to be moving at such a pace where, you know, what I found is on my road to my first billion or two, to work between like a 20 and 80% pace, to never let my mind leave that general range of like, you control how much juice you send through your machine. You control how much energy goes through your machine, your body, and how much emphasis you put into your focus. It's like a law of attraction thing or like a magic thing. It's almost like magic. It's literally like magic. That it's crazy how, if you notice, wherever your attention goes and your focus rests, wherever your focus goes, results usually and always come out the other side. It's all about what is your bottom dollar and how much is your soul's effort really worth. I'm just an old soul living my chosen destiny to be a trillionaire. And you'll see when I'm like in my 60s, I'll make my first trillion. I might even make a few trillion. But I am an old soul, and I'm just an old soul. You can never deny the God factor. I'm not like fucking God, but I'm like close enough to say there's no magic pill for success. But you can learn to manipulate karma. Not manipulate, but you can like use the powers that be and the forces that be and take advantage of the system, but you never want to be someone who like abuses it like cheat codes or something. You don't want to be using like cheat codes and stuff. It's called cheating. When you you find out what you're made of, you know, when you decide to act from instinct versus using a nasty, dirty little cheat code to push you ahead 10 million, but at the end of the day you go to hell because you didn't play the game the right way. I'll make over $1 trillion throughout my life. I'd like to live to be 90, but everything is up for discussion. Everything is pretty much up for discussion. I would never, I would never mislead you guys. I'm just sorry to say that there's no easy way to say that most of you guys is probably have a real long time, many millions of lifetimes and billions and trillions of lifetimes before you reach your final form. And in your final form, you can do pretty much, you are king, like a king. Like I'm probably like one of the top 1,000 people in the world in terms of what I'm capable of. And if I'm not top 10, I'm definitely top 1,000. It's like, I'm humble, I'll take top 1,000. I guess that's cool, Um, and I pour all my emphasis into my kids and my future wife and my money. And if I have any juice left over, I play video games. Life is not that hard to figure out. You want to move toward the joy, and you want to move away from the discomfort. Um, I went through 10 years of discomfort, discovering abundance of money. And now that money is not my major issue, you know, I just do whatever the hell I want. And I'm only 30 years old with complete freedom and abundance. I have the net worth. I don't quite have my hands on the cash yet, but according to my logic, I'll never have to worry about money ever again. And that's at the age of 30.